Right guys, so today we're doing the spark plugs on a CLK. I had a quick look at them yesterday as you saw, and I did say I'd do a video about the spark plugs. So this is going to be a video. It's worked out slightly longer than I planned. I've tried not to babble too much, but I do need to cover the points that are important when doing this type of thing. So I hope you find the video useful. I hope you enjoy it. And don't forget to like and subscribe if it was helpful. And yeah, let's get into it. Guys, so these are the plugs from the CLK. This is cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, cylinder 4. And you can see that they all look about the same, which is a good thing. The not so good thing is they all look heavily carboned. Well, they're all carbon fouled. These have been in for a while looking at them, looking at the condition, overall condition of the plug. And these are NGK. These are BKU R6ET 10s. Now, I don't use NGK plugs, but that's just me. I've always used Bosch products on Mercedes cars. These are the new ones. These are Bosch FR5 DC heat range 5 plugs. Every spark plug manufacturer, I believe, has their own heat ranges. So Bosch's heat range will be different to NGK's heat range, and so on. Same with Brisk and so on and so forth. Anyway, obviously the CLK is running rich as hell, so we're going to have to go back and look at the map on that. We blindly remapped that, so we just gave it more fuel, more boost. A very silly thing to do, but that's typically what you're pretty much doing with an overdrive pulley when you don't remap them. Giving it more fuel, because you put a 4 or 5 bar fuel pressure regulator in, and more air with the supercharger being overdriven. Pretty much doing the same thing, and this is the effect that it has. So choosing your spark plugs is very important. Choosing the right heat range, the right gap. So these are 0.6 mil, I believe. I have seen them at 0.8, but I think that must be a mismeasurement because they should be 0.6, which is a bit too tight of a gap. So when I've got my feeler gauge, I forgot it. I forgot the most important tool I needed for doing this job. It wants to be about between 0.8 and 0.7. I'd say about 0.7 mil, and I think that should work fine for the application they're going in. Now, we have always ran these, whether we're using an overdrive pulley or the turbo M111s we've done. They've all had FR5 DC plugs, and we've had great results from them. Now, I'm not saying these are the right plugs for this application, but we've always used them and always had great results. Obviously, they're still going to be in a rich condition engine. I need to do something about that. I can't leave it like that, because that is horsepower. That is horsepower disappearing. We don't want that. We want all the horsepower we can get. That's why we tune these. That's why all you guys tune them. So once I've slapped these in, I will probably take them out again just to re-gap them when I've got my tools. But for now, these are going in, replacing these, and yeah, that's basically all you really need to know roughly at the minute. But spark plugs are always forgotten about. Like, it's not just a case of as long as they're sparking, oh, that's fine. You can do all sorts of damage to an engine with the wrong type of spark plug, the wrong heat range of spark plug, the wrong gap. You can cause debt, which on these engines as you've seen from the videos, does not end well. The turbo W202, that detted like crazy. For another reason, that was nothing to do with the plugs, but it detted like crazy and pop marked the piston, and then ended up scoring the bore. The turbo SOK melted the piston, and this is what you need to bear in mind. These engines are so sensitive to det, you've got to do everything you can to try and avoid it happening. And one of the things you can do is the spark plugs. Get them set up right, and you'll get great performance. I think I remember watching one of PFI's videos, and they literally just regapped the spark plugs. That's all they did. They were using NGK ones, and they regapped the spark plugs on this Honda, and they literally picked up something like 40 horsepower. Now, don't be expecting that just getting the right gap on your plugs will pick you up 40 horsepower. These, obviously, what PFI Speed do is totally different to what we do, and they're a lot more high power cars anyway that go through there. But it just shows the importance of getting the right spark gap and how much power you can gain with the right spark gap. I prefer these single point plugs as opposed to these multi-point ones. I think that's more area for the gas to get around the spark and for the fuel to ignite better. Like, probably people will disagree with me, and I could be wrong in the concept, but multi-point plugs, you've got 3 points on these ones that are shrouding the area of the spark. You've got one on this, and it's going to go straight up unless it gets carboned up. Now, what happens with carbon buildup is electricity travels through carbon, so it will, instead of going from the electrode to any of these 3 points, it will go from the electrode straight to the metal body, so it will take the path of least resistance. So that is why you have to keep checking your spark plugs, and your spark plugs can tell you a lot about the health of your engine. And the good thing is, none of these have been steam cleaned, so that means the head gasket's fine. But the carbon can also be down to piston rings, but there's no build up of oil on there. They're dry, and there's no crusted up bits, so that's good. Also, these tell me that the valve stems are good as well, because there's no like grey kind of deposits from oil dropping down through the valve stems into the combustion chamber, and so that's good. Valve stem seals look good. Awesome. And like I say, none of them have been steam cleaned, so the head gasket's good. So the only thing we've got to worry about is the too much fuel situation. So anyway, that'll do for now. I've tried to explain it as best I can. I'm going to chuck these in. This video's too long anyway now. So like, subscribe if it's been useful. Definitely please subscribe. Really appreciate all of you, and I hope this has been useful, and see you in the next one.